Thanks for taking the time to have a look today. We are going to look at everviz maps, and this is something that we've been spending a lot of time on recently, and something that that we're making available to all of our clients under the enterprise plan. So I think actually I have a few other people should be joining. We'll add them as we go, but I think we can probably get started because we have a limited time frame. So yes, welcome, and thanks again for joining. Again, we are going to look at our what we call our location map, and this is an easy way for anybody to create a map. This is meant for as a couple of people here. This is meant for marketing teams, people working in communications teams, anybody, journalists, to easily create a map and to welcome Brian. Easily create a map within everviz, and those of you who have worked with everviz know that that is the sort of whole intention with our tool, which is to make it easy for anyone to create charts, and we've sort of expanded upon that and gone into the in same concept but for maps. So chat is open. I encourage you guys to put questions there as I go. Otherwise, we can leave time for questions at the end. We don't have a lot of time, so I'll just jump right into it now and share my screen. So for those of you who don't know, everviz is a browser-based tool. So you're logging in on the web here. If you just give me 1 second. Logging in on the web, so that's the first thing that I'll do here, just enter my login details, and that lands me on the everviz homepage. And this is basically, as a user in everviz, this is where you're creating charts and maps. And once you do that, they appear here on the homepage, and your colleagues can open them and edit them and work with them. So in that sense, we sort of think of everviz as a collaboration tool. So what we're going to have a look at then, again, you have to kind of imagine that you have some data, geographical data that you need to visualize. This is where you would come into everviz and launch a new project. So we're going to go ahead and click a new project here. You can see the project types that you can create in everviz. We've got charts, maps, table. A layout is like a combination of the different projects. You can create like a collage. In this case, we're going to have a look at our map. So within everviz, we've always had a number of map templates that you can create. These are the ones that have always sort of been there. And you can see that they're interactive. The one that we've been working on recently is a location map. And again, this is a map that can be used across industries. We obviously see a use case for journalists, but also for teams working in people working in marketing teams, comms teams, anybody who has data that they need to visualize that works well in a map format. So in step one, you're selecting location map. In the second step, which is our design step, this is where you're applying themes or templates to the map. So out of the box, you've got 3 or 4 different templates that you can choose between. As you can see, we also have a satellite theme, which has very nice detail. I can show that to you later. The way this works is for clients who typically want to have their own theme here, they would pass on that information to us, and we would build that theme and then make it available to them in the tool. You can actually create these map themes with open source software. An example is Maputnik, which is a open source tool for creating map themes. And that's actually the tool that we use for creating these themes. Our thinking here was that we wanted to focus on, in the beginning here, giving the users a tool for creating a map. So this is, and the design tools will come later. So we think that we'll be able to build design tools into everviz so that you can create your own map theme over time. But in the meantime, you can use a tool like Maputnik. And I'll follow up with an email with a link to Maputnik afterwards. Essentially, you create a theme, you download a file, and then you upload. We would upload it here into everviz. So that's, yeah, it is possible. The short and sweet of that is it's possible to brand these maps as well. And your branded theme would appear on this step. So in the third step here, in the data step, this is where you would be adding essentially markers to your map. So now I've added a marker for London. I can see here in the control area that I can say, okay, new hospital, for example. We have a number of pins or marker types that are here. These are sort of like default out of the box, but again, these can be completely customized with fonts and colors and that sort of thing. The other thing that we can do here is right-click on the map and add a region, as we call them. And this allows you basically to shade a region. And we see in the controller here that we have like different options for controlling the color and the look of that region. Again, this is just like the default look and feel, but this is these are things that our clients are customizing as well. And again, that's something that we would help you with. So again, let's move through our wizard. We're almost on the last step here. In the fourth step, you can add a title. Like so, a lot of our clients actually with a map, they would probably have that title within a CMS, but you do have the option to add it here. Brian, yes, has to be predefined. Yeah, actually, so it's pulling. That's a good question. The question was, does the region need to be predefined? You'll notice when I right-click the map, wherever I click it, let's see here. If I head back into data, for example, wherever my marker is when I'm clicking it, it will pull that map data, Brian, and offer the suggestions for where the marker, yeah, the location where the marker is hovering over, if that answers your question.
It does. Thank you, Mark.
Excellent. Yeah, and that is predefined. It's actually OpenStreetMap, I believe. That is, we have a number of different tools that we're using to build the map. And I believe in terms, it's either, I believe it's OpenStreetMap that's providing the data for the regions. Yeah, so back in step 4 here, yeah, you have a few options for enabling some controls, including the minimap. So this is more like what the user would see if they're reviewing the map on the web page. And you can also say at this step, okay, we have some labels that we want to disable. When I get into the map editor, you'll see that we have far more options and more layers that we can enable and disable. But here in the wizard, you just can simply turn the labels on and off. Let's keep them on for now. So, okay, now we're at the final step in our map wizard. Hopefully, so far you have all seen that that's quite easy. We ended up with a map with a region and a marker. I can now say, okay, I'm ready to publish the map, and this is this is where what we call our multi-platform publishing capability comes into play. And again, this is very from our clients in media. This is a very powerful tool because typically in a media organization, you have different teams working with different platforms. So you've got the online team, SoMe team, video team, linear team. That's actually what we see is reflected also in a bigger corporate environment, that you have different teams who are responsible for different platforms. The point here is that anybody in any of these teams can create this map and export it to their platform. So if you're responsible for web, you would select, you would publish, you would select online, and then you would just copy the script code here and paste it into your CMS. And then you have a map that's live on your page, typically embedded within an article. At the same time, the social media team can come in and click social, select the channel that they're publishing to, and the format, and also the dimensions, and also export that. Same goes for PDF prints. So we have PNG, PDF, SVG export here. You can actually host the map on your own server. Some of our clients choose to do that for privacy reasons, security reasons. We have the code export. And video and live video is really, video, first of all, is an ability to grab the map animation, which I'll show you in a second, and include that in a page, or in the case of a broadcaster in a video package, or a piece of marketing content. And live video is really for including a chart or a map into a live stream. But in the corporate world, that the use case there is like including it into a town hall or a webinar or any kind of live stream. But for live video, this is our integration with VizFlowX, which is an HTML-based playout program. You simply grab the URL here, paste it into a Flowx template, and then you have a map, within your broadcasting workflow. Okay, so that is the map wizard, and if I head into the editor now, I get more options. But before I do, maybe I can stop and just see if anybody had any questions here so far? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, so there will be some time at the end as well if you're wondering anything. If I go into the editor now, I get basically more options for working with the map and customizing it. So what I can show you, first of all, I mentioned the video export, and that's quite useful if you're going to create an animation. And if I expand the timeline here, I get the option to add keyframes. So first of all, if I zoom out, and let's just show southern UK like this, we can add our first keyframe. And then what I'm going to do is just zoom into the marker like this, and just sort of add keyframes as I go. And I can actually zoom all the way into street level here and tilt the map as well, like so. So now you have a nice animation zooming into the location of whatever you're writing about or reporting on. And this, again, will work really well within a video, but also you can imagine this on a web page. There's a lot of options here. You can do fly between markers. You can create custom animations, basically allowing you to tell the story in a visual way. So it's just an extra storytelling tool. So that's the animation. And when you're ready, say you're happy with that animation, you would head to publish and export. You would click video. You would select your format type. Say you would want MP4. You click export, and that ends up in our export panel. But just so you know, we do have the ability to export with alpha, and we do have these sort of broadcasting formats that are available as well. So you can also imagine, you've got this story where you're writing about a new hospital, you've created an animation. You might want to build upon the map that you've created and add new elements. So will the online, so the question, will the online embed code show the animation as well? Yes, it will. That's right. So the question was whether or not the embed code here would show that animation. If the map has an animation, it will play when the viewer arrives at that wherever the map is on the page. It'll play automatically. So yeah, if there is an animation, it will be like an autoplay function. Good question. Okay, so I was just going to show you something that clients were asking for and that we released recently, and that's the ability to add like freehand elements into the map. And again, this is just to be able to expand the visual storytelling options that you have with the map. So you can, for example, draw routes like so. And yeah, this could be like the location of a parade, or it could be like if the city is working on on, working on construction on a road and the road is closed, you would want to, highlight the part that's closed. You can easily do that with the routes. What we're looking at next with this functionality is to be able to animate the route as well. So you would just add keyframes in the same way that I did with the map animation. And you could then, I'm just going to add one more thing there. You would also be able to control the start and stop points of that animation. And we think that most likely very soon, we're going to be adding an option here to add a stop point. And now that's a very specific workflow within broadcasting that allows you, again, to control the to start and stop an animation. So we're going to be doing that as well with routes. So that's the route. You also have the ability to add a circle, like so, and yeah, edit it. You can add a polygon as well, if you need to. So this is highlighting, for example, an area that's affected by an event. You can just freehand draw that. And yes, I'm not a designer, as you can see, so that doesn't look great, but sorry. For the clickable point map, are you able to link out to other pages on a website? Yeah, we can look at the point map after. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, sorry. So we've got a couple of questions here, and I'll read them out loud so we can all be aware of them. We can have a look at the point map after. The question is if you can add a link to another page on a website. I think that's probably good if we look at, that's a separate map type in everviz. We can have a look at that after. And what about linking labels and other features to your animation keyframes? Yeah, that is interesting. So I'm not quite sure I understand. Is that, I think the question there is if we have this label, making it appear at a certain keyframe. I believe that is the question. What I can say there is what we are, that's right, okay, that's the question. And so the issue, just so everybody is clear there, is when I'm zoomed all the way out, you can still see the label. That's maybe not desirable at this like high zoom level. So the question is, can you control when the marker appears in the animation? At the moment, you can't. But what we will be releasing soon is a separate track in the timeline here, which would be like a track for the marker. So you could just basically slide it along and match it up with the keyframes and basically set the point where it should appear. So that's coming soon. And maybe what you're hearing here is that we're adding new features all the time, new feature ideas, and that is what we're doing. We're listening to our clients, and we have a product roadmap where we have lots of cool ideas, and we're all the time deciding, okay, what's going in next. And because this tool is browser-based, we can just basically add it, and it gets updated basically continuously. So yeah, I came to work one day and we had the freehand drawing tools. So I think our customers appreciate how fast that happens. So that is coming. That's coming soon. One thing that I didn't enable, we were looking at map. Yeah, one more question here. Let's see. The question is, can the marker in this view show a, sorry, it disappeared on me, one sec. Can the marker in this view show a modal with more information when clicked? Yes. So that's a great question. And so the idea is if you're on a website and you click the marker, more information would come up. The use case that we hear there is if you click this, you might get a picture of the construction site, for example, or how it looks now, or the future plans for how the hospital would look, I think, if I understood that right. So at the moment you can't do that, but that's something that we definitely have in our backlog, and we're gonna, I think, very likely build something like that. Yes, that's a great question and a good. We have a lot of people asking about that. That's great for online, obviously. Yeah, and actually we do have another map template that if we have time I can show you after, where you can already do that, but just not in this map. I was going to quickly, if I just tilt the map here, we can have a look at the layers, and I can enable 3D buildings, for example. So we're in London, and we've got lots of buildings, obviously. You see the layers that are enabled here in everviz. Now, these are also just sort of default layers that we make available, and our clients are looking for many different kind of options and layers. And these are things that we can enable for you, for your environment, depending on the type of information that you need to show. Yeah, again, we can go ahead and enable the mini map. We have a lot of ideas for the mini map. At the time, it's quite simple. It's basically just a POC at this point, but we have lots of different design ideas, and we're listening to feedback there about how we can make this look even better. Again, you have some interactivity that you can enable for your user who's viewing this on the web page. So you've got zooming in and out. You can go full screen, which is actually an accessibility feature because it allows people to focus more on the element that they should be looking at and not get distracted by other elements. And then this is basically a button for showing your location in relation to where the event is taking place. Yeah, so basically at any point you can head into themes and change your theme. And when you click republish, that updates the embed codes. If the map is already published, that will happen automatically. You don't have to go in and republish or grab the code and put it back into your CMS. That just happens automatically. I think that's probably a pretty good overview and a status now of our what we call the location map. Yeah, I'm glad to see that you guys had some questions. I hope I answered them in a good way. We have a few minutes. I can. There was one question about the point map. We can have a quick look at that. And maybe that's a good time right now to do that. But that was our location map feature. If I head back into the map wizard here, the question was about the point map, and if I just review that again, are you able to link out to other pages on a website? I actually don't have much experience with the point map, but let's head into the editor here. I think what you would want to do is there is code that you can add for New York, for example. So if you wanted to have New York, yeah, if you click that, you would be able to go out to another site. You could do that here in the data panel. So I can send over some information on how to do that afterwards. Otherwise, we do have another map type that we're working on, which is sort of the map for we call it like an info window map, which allows you also to add markers. And this is also, for example, if I click London, I can add a marker like so. If I click the marker, I'm able to add text into the marker here. So this is another map type that we make available as well. So we had a look at our maps today and a few questions. We have a couple of minutes left. Were there any questions at this time, or how was everybody receiving that?
Thanks, Mark. That's good. It shows a lot of functionality in there, which would be great. And the what was it? Maputnik. I'll have a look at that. So for the use of that, we would make our own map editor and send you the settings basically to upload for our account.
That's correct. And I can send you the. I'll open it here just to show you. I think yeah, you basically there's a lot of stuff here. So this is typically a designer tool, but yeah, you would come in here and you would add all your branding, and it spits out a file. You give it to us, and then we can make it available in your environment.
Do you know if it's possible to amend labels in that? So, for instance, not everyone calls Turkey Turkiye, that sort of thing. So you have specific country names or place names or things like that.
Absolutely, yes, that's possible.
Great.
Extremely powerful tool. So we, yeah, you can really, yeah, everything you can customize.
Awesome. I have a plan. Thank you.
Awesome. And again, this is open source, so we really didn't see the point of basically making this available in everviz when it's already, you know, available online. But again, we will be adding design tools in everviz for the maps. We already have the ability to create templates for our charts in everviz. It's quite powerful sort of theme editing that you can do here, and in order to match your add your brand into everviz. But that at the moment is currently for charts, a little bit for maps as well. But the idea is that we would build upon our theme editors to make it possible to build themes for the location map as well.
Cool. Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for that, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. I have one short question regarding the themes. Would the font you set in your chart themes follow with the maps?
Yeah, it would. So again, I think so. Yeah, that's a good question. Within the chart, you can easily select from a drop down the different font that you would want to apply. The font for the location map that I showed you would be built into the theme. And again, that's set in something like Maputnik. So I think actually, I would have to double check on this, but I think that you could have, like you have in everviz, you have the ability to upload your own font. And again, that's for charts. So you could have a situation where you're creating charts with your company font, but that your map font would be different, if you know what I mean. I think that would be the case. Whatever font your map is using is the font that you've defined in whenever you created your theme, like when you're in the process with Maputnik, if that makes sense. Typically,
yeah,
that would probably be the same font, I guess. But you might imagine a use case where your maps should have a different font. In that case, it'll pull from whatever, whatever your theme file is saying. So yeah, thanks for that. All right, we have a couple minutes left, and yeah, I just want to thank everybody for joining and being so with all the great questions, and it was wonderful to host you today. I will follow up with a little email with some resources, including a link to Maputnik. Otherwise, we can probably wrap it up if there weren't any more questions.